Hello, everyone. Welcome to Healing by Design, the podcast where we amplify the voices that matter most in wound care. I'm Jen Bierhup, and I am here with my co-host, Therese Laub. We are so glad you found us, and we can't wait to dig into today's conversation. Before we jump in, I do want to take just a quick moment to cover a few things. Everything we talk about on this podcast is meant to educate and inform. It's not medical advice, and it shouldn't be taken as a diagnosis or treatment recommendations. Your situation is unique, and your healthcare provider is always your best resource for decisions about your care. The opinions our guests share are their own. They don't speak for PAWSIC or our sponsors. And if any of our guests have professional or financial ties to products or companies we discuss, we'll always be upfront about that. One more thing. If you're ever dealing with a wound care emergency, please don't look to us for that. Go to a provider right away. Now that we have all of the disclaimers out of the way, let's dive right into our show. Welcome to Healing by Design, powered by PAWSIC, the Post-Acute Skin and Wound Integrity Council. This is our very first podcast, and we are so excited that you are joining us today. With us, I have Therese Laub.
Hello.
Hello. And behind the scenes, what you can't see is we have Max Bierhup, who is our producer and director of our podcast. Everything that you see and hear is brought to you by Max.
Hey guys, how's it going?
I would like to introduce a little bit about myself, and then we'll absolutely want to hear about Therese. I've been in wound care for almost 20 years. I've worked in almost every post-acute space except for long-term care. That I can say. I have built education. Therese and I have built companies together, and it has just been the adventure of a lifetime. But underneath it all, we do this because our why is the patients. We've helped patients across the way, so many different environments, and it is truly exactly why we are here. It's why we exist. It's what we do. We teach other nurses, we teach other providers, we empower them to be able to empower their patients. The more we educate, the more we get the word out there, the bigger the wound care healing army grows. And that is exactly what we do. And so it's so exciting that PAWSIC gave us this opportunity to grow it even bigger by hosting a podcast.
Yes, Jen, this is a very exciting time. As Jen said, my name is Therese. I have a few more years on Jen with wound care, just a couple. But all of my career has been in post-acute care, just like you, Jen. I have worked long-term care for a little while, and it has been very empowering working in all the different spaces. I did a lot in industry as well, which gives a unique perspective on wound care from another side of it, right? And I am just so thankful that we have this opportunity, because I think anybody that's listening knows that wound care is going under a lot of change. And we are seeing a lot when it comes to the science of wound care, products that are out there with AI in the mix. That's even like incredible watching that go down. The regulatory that they're doing with Medicare and all that, everything is just changing. So it's going to be interesting in this series to talk with a lot of different people in this space to see where they're at, what their perspectives are, and what we're doing to bring it all together, as you said, to help the patients, because this is really why we're all here. So it's been an exciting journey so far, and this is just another piece that's going to make it even more fun.
I know. And if you have ever spent any time with Therese and I, you know that we really like to have a good time.
Yes,
for certain. So this is going to be exciting on multiple levels. I can say that. So Therese, thank you so much. I'm so excited that we're together doing this. I'm excited that we're with Max. And so whether you're here because you're frustrated, you're curious, you're passionate, you're skeptical, you have a lot of questions, you just are really curious about what Therese and Jen might say, we're happy that you're joining us. You're in the right place. And I hope at the end of all the podcasts, you come away saying, wow, I learned something. I was moved. I'm going to go change my practice today. So with further ado, let's get started.
Let's get started.
Our guest has lived with primary lymphedema since birth. For over 30 years, she was misdiagnosed, dismissed, and told there was nothing that could be done. She endured bullying, physical pain, and a healthcare system that didn't have any answers. And instead of giving up, she became the answer. She's a patient advocate, a published author, a nonprofit founder, a natural bodybuilder, and the creator of the Rivera method, a comprehensive, patient-centered approach to lymphedema self-management that is changing lives around the world. She's known in the lymphedema community simply as the Ninja. Please welcome our very first guest on Healing by Design, Amy Rivera.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And I'm the ninja.
We're excited.
Show us some moves, Amy.
Yeah. I don't know if that'd be appropriate right now. I might hurt myself. I'm stretched this morning.
Oh my goodness. Well, we are so excited to have you. One of the main goals of our podcast, especially in the beginning, is really to talk about the patient voice. We know in wound care, we talk so much about dressings, about different modalities, about compression, elevation. We talk about diet. But what we forget is that behind all of that is a person. And so we are so excited to have you as our first guest to really be that person behind all of those things that we talk about every day in wound care. So with that, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about yourself and about your journey.
Sure. So I was born with primary lymphedema, and it was onset at birth. My mother told me the right side of my body was twice the size of my left. She said I looked like two different children. Wow. And so my mother was very young, and she already had like the new mommy jitters, like, what's this cry mean? How do I hold my baby? And then you add this onto it. So I can imagine the amount of stress that she was going through. But what was even crazier to me is when she told me that the doctors told her it was the way she carried me in the womb. Yeah.
Wow, no kidding.
Yes. And as I continue to share this story over the years, so many other people with lymphedema, primary lymphedema, I should say, their parents were told the exact same thing.
You're serious.
It blew me away. So the doctor said that after a couple of days, the swelling would go down and I should be okay, which it did actually for the most part of the right side of the body, except for my right leg.
Wow.
And as I continued to grow, my right leg grew, and my poor parents took me to all the specialists here in St. Louis, took me to every doctor they could think of, and there was never anything mentioned about lymphedema, lymphatic diseases. It was just weird swelling. That's all they were told. Yeah. And so as I continued to grow, they just kind of gave up, they didn't know what else to do. So for 32 years, I had zero answers.
Oh my gosh.
Your poor parents. Could you imagine that feeling of guilt? Like, what am I doing wrong or what did I do? Wow.
Yeah. And when I talk to my mom about this now, because I really want to interview her, but she'll get me canceled and viral all at the same time because she's got something she wants to say.
Wow.
And I'm like, Mom, you can't say that. You can't drop the F-bomb 50 times and you can't MF them and this and that. Like, she's got a lot to say. So all that anger is, pent up here. And I'm like, rightfully so, though. I understand your frustration, which is why I do what I do today. Awesome. Not just for me, but for my parents and for everyone else out there who's dealing with the same type of situation that I've dealt with or currently dealing with. So, yeah, my right leg grew to be 200% larger than my left leg.
Oh, my goodness.
It was like at elephantitis stage. And I remember going to my primary care, which I've had for years. And I was 31 at the time. And I'm like, I need to do something. My leg is getting worse. I'm drinking bottles of wine, wearing long dresses and skirts to hide it. And all I'm doing is making my condition, which I didn't know at the time was a condition, worse. So he literally had his pad and his paper. He wouldn't even look at me. And he just goes, it's just going to be weird swelling. Here's a diuretic, and you're going to be in a wheelchair by the time you're 35. This is your quality of life. There's nothing.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, okay, you're fired.
Yeah, here's your diuretic that we're going to pull from one leg specifically, because that's how that works. Because that's exactly how that works.
That's a whole nother conversation, right? like whole another episode. So I fired him and I was so mad. I went back to work and I just started Googling the things that I was called in school. Elephant leg, big leg, just things I was called, because I'm like, I cannot be the only one in the world.
Yeah.
There's just no way. And then I was shocked to see these legs look like mine. But the catch was they weren't in the US. They were in different countries. And I'm like, wait a minute. So I called my mom. I'm like, did you travel out of the country and eat something that had a parasite in it?
Oh, right.
Just trying to put it together. And she was like, Amy, the only fish I eat is fish sticks, which by the way is not fish. But she was just making a point, she did not travel out of the country. And so I'm like, well, how do I look like these people? And I've never even been out in the US at this point, and you've never been out in the US, but my leg looks exactly like this elephantitis that come from a parasite. So then I found a doctor in France, Dr. Becker. And this was before Zoom was really cool and everything. So I was trying to figure all that out, trying to figure out the Zoom and my settings, and that was a whole fiasco. But eventually I got on with her, and she was like, looks like lymphedema. I'm like, what? What? And she's like, you can come to France and see me, but this is what I would do. And it was a very conservative type of treatment. I'm like, you see my leg? I don't have time for conservative treatment.
Right.
Right. It's already bad.
It's been 30 years. Can we do something more aggressive?
Years.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Right. I've been conservative for 30 years. So I found a doctor in Chicago that she referred me to. And I could not believe there was a physician 4.5 hours away from me this entire time. Yeah. I was pretty upset but excited at the same time, because I'm like, finally, I'm getting some answers. So I went to Chicago, and I remember feeling so nervous. My hands were sweaty. My armpits were definitely sweaty, and I wasn't even perimenopausal at this time. So I was just like a hot mess. But I had never showed anyone my leg other than my primary care. I barely showed my family because I was so embarrassed. So I'm standing there, my legs all out, and I'm just shaking. And man, it was really nerve-wracking for me. And then she says, you have primary lymphedema. I said, there's that L word again. What is this? And she explains to me what the lymphatic system does, what lymphedema is, and how there's no cure and it progressively gets worse. I'm like, how much worse can it get than this? Yeah, right. Was I afraid to ask that? Yes, but I'm like, I got to know what I'm dealing with at this point. And when she said no cure, I was like, dang, I just won the lottery because you just told me what it is, and now you just took my winnings away and said there's no cure.
Yeah, right?
So there goes playing the lottery. That just blew my hope forever, So she said, well, there's these surgeries and this and that. And at the time, I knew it was really truly experimental back in 2013.
Yeah.
But I was so desperate for some pain relief that I went ahead and had a surgery with her. And she took lymph nodes from my neck, and she put them connected them in the groin area where I was missing a cluster of lymph nodes, which, by the way, I had the worst test ever, the lymphocytography. And at that time, they weren't numbing you or anything.
No. I want to take a moment to tell you about something I'm really proud of, and that is Libellin Learning. For years, wound care case management has existed in this space where clinical expertise meets care coordination, and yet there has never been a dedicated educational home for the professionals doing this work every day. Nobody was building for the wound care case manager specifically, so we did. Libellin Learning was founded to fill that gap. We are pioneers in developing education designed specifically for wound care case managers, the nurses, the coordinators, the clinicians navigating complex patients across every care setting, the ones who are often doing everything right, but without the resources and recognition they deserve. We believe that when wound care case managers are educated, supported, and empowered, patients heal, systems work better, and the outcomes, they speak for themselves. If that sounds like the work you're doing, or the work you want to be doing, Libellin Learning was built for you. Find us on LinkedIn and come grow with us.
I felt like I was going to punch the person in the face probably 10 times. And I'm like, I'm so sorry if I cuss you out. I'm so sorry if I scream at you. He's like, oh, I'm used to this. I'm like,
wait. They're used to the person that they're doing this to, like screaming
and because it was so painful back then. It was,
So
they injected dye between your
oh my
fingers
gosh.
and your toes. And the needle was like super
Oh my
long.
gosh.
And my toes were already thick from the skin, the thickening of, so she had to redo it.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
It's like torture.
Yeah,
It's like torture.
It was. I think I'd rather have childbirth without pain medicine than go through that. Like, it was terrible. It was terrible.
Oh my gosh.
Because at least I have a child at the end of
Right,
it. You know?
Right. I'm just
this test was like, well, sorry, there's no cure, but here's where your lymphatic system's messed up.
Great.
And enjoy all this
Thanks.
pain.
That was great.
Right. I was like, boy, I need a treatment for that, you know. So I did get the answers of primary lymphedema. And that's really where the whole journey started. That's where it began for me. It was like, how could someone live 4.5 hours away from a medical professional who could have helped me years ago, and we had no idea?
Right.
No. And that's where I was like, we're going to start a foundation just to get voices together. And that's where Ninjas Fighting Lymphedema really started as like a Facebook group, a support group for me, honestly. Yeah. Because I'm like, how many people are out there like me? And I was blown away with, I mean, the first month or two, I had 2,000 followers. And I'm like, what?
Wow.
What? You know, and all I was doing was just sharing my updates, my journey, my leg.
Yeah.
I had no idea there were people out there suffering in silence like me.
So was there a lot? Did you find a lot of people that joined that group that had, you know, the same thing that you had going on there?
Oh, yeah. The same story, the same misdiagnosis or undiagnosis, the same, I'm alone, no one really understands, I hide it, you know. And a lot of people looked like me. Their limbs looked like mine.
Yeah.
Because they had never had proper treatment either. And I was just like, and a lot of them were like, I'm on this water pill.
Oh gosh.
But it's making things worse.
I can't.
No
like this. I get so, but I want to take you back a little bit.
Yeah.
And because I think this is significant. You said something that to me hit me. You said, oh my gosh, my leg looked like I had a parasite, or my leg looked. And so for those of us who have, you know, been in wound care, or for those of us that, you know, have kind of like tried to understand lymphedema, we see pictures of oh my gosh, how do we say it? How do you say that? I can say it in my head, but I can't say it out loud.
I can't say it out loud.
Filariasis.
Yeah. See, now that I'm on here,
you know what?
But I say it all the time.
I say it all the time too, and like I don't know why it's not coming out of my mouth the right way, but it, you know, that's the way it is. So that is like the end stage of lymphedema, of having this parasite, and it's always like you see these pictures, you're like, oh my gosh, like that's awful. You see this. So if you're saying that your leg looked like that, I think those of us who can understand what that looks like, how devastating. Like, oh my gosh. And then to really not know, and for people to not understand, and then for a doc to say, hey, we're going to throw a diuretic and you know, and we're going to do all these things. I mean, that is, it's just unbelievable. So tell me about your skin. Tell me about, did you develop any seeping, any wounds? Like, tell me about that leg a little bit. Like, I kind of want to I kind of want our listeners to kind of understand like what that means.
Yeah, absolutely. So I did have several papillomas on my leg. They were huge. One was so big that I scraped it against the door and it cut it off. It was so painful.
Oh no.
I thought for sure I was going to get an infection. I just knew I was. And it took months to heal. And it was on the outside of my calf, or on the outside of my calf, because I was coming in and it just hit it. It like cut it right off. It, you know, and then it weeped. My leg did weep a lot. And then my skin integrity, this is really interesting. My skin was so thick and hard on the outside that no matter what I did, I couldn't get a soft release, like some softness to it. And that was because the inside was so damaged from the years of the fluid just sitting there. It turned into a sludge, like a toxic sludge, kind of like the bottom of a pond. If you drain it and you still can't get all that gunk out, that's what was inside my leg. So no wonder why I couldn't respond to like bandaging and things like that I was supposed to start doing as soon as I got this diagnosis.
Right. Yeah.
And so my skin integrity was really, really poor at the time. And interestingly, though, I think I only recall having one cellulitis infection my entire life, and that was like 11.
Wow. Impressive.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, I'm still shocked. Like I don't have them, knock on wood. That doesn't mean I can't develop at any time. You know, it's just I'm very open to it, obviously because of my lymphatic system. But so far, that's the only time I recall having a cellulitis infection.
That is phenomenal. I mean, I think that goes to show how much self-care and how much you tried to take care of your skin and how much you looked at it and how much you were aware of what was going on. And so that's a testament to you, to making sure that you continued to be healthy. So good on you, man, because I can guarantee that that's definitely doesn't happen very often.
And I know when I share that with people, they're like, they don't believe me, but I'm like, honestly, I can show you. I've never been in the hospital for an infection. I have never been on antibiotics for an infection, except for when I was 11. And that was a whole nother story. I didn't have antibiotics, but the infection did end up going away. But I've never experienced it. And I think I don't get pedicures, I do that myself. I live in a farm, so I love the outdoors. So I would expect to get an infection there, but I'm always covering my limbs and, making sure I wear boots and when I'm going hiking and protection on my limbs in case something scratches me. So I'm very cautious, but I didn't know why I was being cautious. I was just like, I don't want to touch this leg. I didn't know the seriousness of infections at the time.
Yeah.
And what's amazing about that is that you're a strong person. It sounds like, and very self-aware. And you were very determined, it sounded like too, to get something done, to figure this out. What's the next step that we can, make this progress? But there's so many people out there that don't have that personality. And I'm sure when you met them through your Facebook posts that you probably realized that, because I think people in your situation, they're the ones that are the chronic returners to the hospitals and the ones that get the infections because they don't understand what's going on and they don't understand that self-care. So I think in our system, this is where we get a lot of that, patient readmissions or, patients that are in pain or they're constantly going to the ER. So it's just incredible when you are persistent and you really try to figure out the answers and just how many people you've helped because of that tenacity,
Yeah, it's really interesting you say that because even my clients today and my followers, they're still in that mindset. And so I have the ability to meet them where they are because everyone is somewhere else in their journey. We're all at different points in our journey. And the most important part for me is to meet them where they are and slowly introduce the educational components to it because it can be overwhelming. And if you overwhelm someone with all of these things that I have done, they're going to say, well, I can't do that. And I don't want that for them either. So I meet them where they are and then what can you do? What are some improvements you can work on now? Even if it's like, I stopped drinking soda and I started drinking this, or I walked today 10 more steps than I did yesterday. Like all of those things are improvements. And so we want to highlight that
celebrate
for people because I celebrate it because I don't want you to go to the hospital all the time. I don't want you to be on all these medications. I don't want you to feel isolated. And I know not everyone is built like I am. I think I get it from my grandfather.
Well, you grew up, I heard farm. I heard farm. So the
aware.
farmers, I'm just going to say, man, like,
I'm telling you.
Yeah. I mean, he's in his 80s and he's still going strong.
Yeah.
So my
There you
husband,
go.
he goes, I don't think you're ever going to quit, are you? After he sees my grandfather. like, no, I think it's in me, you know.
I think you just said something very critical. I don't mean to interrupt, but I do want to stop because something that you just said, as wound care people, we try to reiterate this to everybody in wound care, and that's meeting the patient where they're at. Because too many times, I think, you know, you have this knowledge and like you've been through this. Jen and I working in wound care, we've worked with people. And so you have all this knowledge in you from what you've experienced, but going to the person that's struggling in front of you, it's so important to understand where they're at. Because like you said, that's where you get positive results, you get buy-in, you know, you get people that are willing to do, like you said, I drink soda, now I realize what that does and I switch to this. Because sometimes that's really hard to get people to do that. So that's a critical piece, I think. And I think it's great that you said that because I think we're all trying to understand that better. So,
yeah, you know, because you have all this information and you want to share it all with them, but it does become overwhelming. I mean, I remember when the doctor said everything to me, I was still stuck on trying to say the word lymphedema.
Right.
I didn't hear anything else that she said, you know?
Yeah.
And then I was also stuck on there's no cure. And then it progressively gets worse. So she said so many other positive, she said other things that were positive, but I didn't hear them. I heard the 3 negative things. And that's where I was like, okay, I go home and I can't even tell you what she said because I only heard these 3 things.
Yep.
And that's where we lose people sometimes.
Yeah.
And so that's really what, you know, I do is I will always have this, you know, it doesn't matter if I have a clinical background. It doesn't matter if I have a business background. It doesn't matter what I do. The most important thing is that I am living with it.
Right. And that's key. So, you are living, it is not ruling your life. You have taken control and you are living with it. You are in control of it. And I think that that's a mindset that is hard for a lot of people. So that is amazing that you're able, that you're saying, this is my lot in life. And these are the extra things that I have to do. And so I'm going to do them so I can stay healthy. I mean, like, that's the pinnacle of what we want all of our people, you know, to do. And to think that I have to imagine through high school, through grade school, I mean, the amount of ridicule, the amount of bullies, the amount of words that were used for you to really hate your body, hate your leg, you know, think that something was wrong with you as a person. And then having to take that and learn that that's not it. And then to be able to do that self-care. So to me, those are some serious mountains to climb.
Yeah, you know, they were. And as a matter of fact, like the cover of my book, this skirt right here. So Drop the Skirt came from that. So yeah, I'll share a little story with you. It's all about the storytelling.
No. This is exactly what.
Right?
Yep.
So when I was in high school, I went through an identity crisis, obviously. And I was just like, I want people to just call me Amy. But they were like, elephant leg, girl with a big leg. You know, kids could be wonderful sometimes. So I convinced my parents to enter this beauty pageant. And by the way, I didn't have to wear bikinis or anything. So I was like, oh, I can do this. I can do this. And they didn't want me to because because of what I was going through. I understand. But I ended up convincing them. And I remember walking into the pageant and I see all these beautiful young ladies. And I was like, I don't want to be here. But I was more afraid of my parents than losing the pageant at this point. Gosh. Because I was on them for months to let me do this. And as I'm standing on the stage, I completely forget my speech. I had prepared for it and everything. And I am one to I'm going to practice. So as I'm standing there, I see my parents out there and they just have this look on their face like, oh no, she froze. And so I decided to share why I was there. And I said, I feel like I belong in a circus. And I just wanted my name, And the judges didn't really say much. They just had this somber face. They just were quiet. They were listening. And then I go back in line and I'm like, I blew it. I'm just in my head, just negative self-talk and looking at all these beautiful ankles walking past me in these heels. And I was just like, those are pretty shoes. I wish I could wear
Right.
those. And, you know, and as we're standing there, they're narrowing down the list of contestants who are getting into the finals. And I end up in the finals and I'm like, oh, they're just a pity,
Right.
a pity for me, this and that. I end up winning the Miss Junior America contest.
Wow.
And
Oh, that's
I end up winning it. And I was like on cloud 9 for like 2 days at school. My trophy, my big old trophy was there, my sash, my crown. Everyone was like, congratulations, Amy. And then after the second or third day, even on the back of my book, it says the beauty queen with a big leg. That was what my new name was.
Oh my gosh.
So
Oh, wow.
right back to identity crisis, right? So after that, I started wearing long skirts and dresses. And when I graduated high school, I went to nursing school. I wanted to help
That's
people.
awesome.
And I moved to Kansas City, went to Rockhurst University, got my nursing degree, and I was just like on cloud 9 helping people because it took the pain away from me. It took the focus away from me. And it got to a point where I couldn't wear scrubs anymore. I couldn't stand. I couldn't work long shifts. And my doctor's like, you can't really do this anymore. And I was broken. And so I went back to school, got my business degree. And I'm like, well, maybe I can run a hospital. Maybe I can do this. And I did do stuff for 10 years, but I didn't like it. It wasn't fulfilling to me. It wasn't like I'm not really making change in people's lives. And I loved the OR. I loved the critical step down. I loved the fast movement, but I loved helping people. So one day I was talking to a coworker and I was just kind of talking and I'd asked her if she wanted to go swimming. Now, when I went swimming, I like had a long swimming suit cover up and I covered my leg and then I sat at the edge of the pool and undid it and slid in it thinking no one's going to see my leg, right?
Yeah, I can.
They probably all saw my leg, right? So I was like, oh, okay. Well, she said something to me it broke me. She said this about herself. Fat girls don't swim in public pools.
Wow.
And I looked at her and I said, what? And she goes, I'm not comfortable swimming in public pools. Now, the beauty of my condition is that it has allowed me to see people for who they are, not what they look like.
Yeah.
Including myself.
Yes.
This is why I call my lymphedema a blessing, because I understand that I may look pretty from the outside, from the waist up at least, but I never felt like I was worthy enough to be pretty. And it allowed me to see people for who they really were, which is an amazing blessing. It really is.
That is.
Oh.
And that very day, which I was wearing this skirt, I said to her, because I make a joke about everything. I like to think I'm a comedian. And I said, well, at least your fat's distributed evenly. And she was like, what? I realized for the first time that we all struggle with something.
Yes.
And
This is
that's
true.
that's the day I dropped my skirt and I started sharing my story. And I stopped wearing long skirts and dresses. And I started wearing leggings and bandaging my leg and wearing those adjustable wraps and I was going to own my story. And freedom that comes from owning your story is far more rich than winning the lottery.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Wow.
I love that.
Yeah. And that's when I really became on fire and started doing all the stuff I do now.
Yeah. And then you did. And you did by wrapping, by aggressively compressing, right? By, it sounds like you had a couple of surgeries. Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, I've had 3. 2 were not very successful. Okay. And my last one was the SAPL, a suction-assisted protein lipectomy. So it's a lymph-sparing liposuction. So it's not like cosmetic liposuction, which I could use some somewhere, and I didn't have a lymphatic issue.
No.
Can you transfer it somewhere for me? That would be great. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I already asked that. And he said, no, absolutely not. He's like, you don't want this in you.
Yeah.
But my physician, Dr. Jay Garanzo, was actually the one who really helped me get back to a balanced life. Meaning he took 4 2-liters of solid out of my leg. It was an extra 32 pounds that I was carrying around. So when I would walk like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so my hips, my bone structure, everything was way out of whack. And he took also 16 inches of skin, which that's something he does not do typically. But earlier when I was mentioning how damaged the skin integrity was internally, when the cannula went in my leg, it came out the other side because the skin integrity was so bad.
Wow.
So he had to take that skin.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I have a beautiful scar on the inside of my leg. It's actually really, you can barely see it now. I had 0 complications with the wounds.
Great.
They closed beautifully. I had no infections. And I'm now 3-4% larger in my right leg than my left leg.
Whoa. Wow.
Yeah. So, and it still takes a lot of work, but I now know what to do. And I won't go back the other way. And I also have lymphedema in my left leg. So since I have primary, it's already in me. So I wear like a class 2 garment on my left, and I wear 2 different classes on my right. But I'll have to tell you, it feels amazing wearing compression.
I have to imagine.
I love it. I even on my left leg, I love wearing compression. And people are like, "Well, I'm so sorry you have it over here." I'm not. I'm just, now I know what to do.
Like it feels,
you know?
It feels, I want you to say that again really loud for all of our lymphedema and venous patients to hear. I want you to say, I love wearing compression.
That's right.
I love wearing compression. I do. That you will never see. The only time I won't have it on is in the shower.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, because
that's a tough one to get people to agree to.
I know.
Yep.
They're like, I don't want to wear that. Well, do you want to look like this? You know, and I don't mean to be rude about it, but like when I explain the physiology of what's going on and why compression is so needed, they're like, oh, and that's part of it. It's never explained thoroughly. And I think the reason that is because clinicians don't have the time to thoroughly do what they want to do. And that's where I developed the lymphedema blueprint course for patients.
Okay. Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about that. I want to hear about that.
Yeah. You know, so I go see my therapist all the time, and I see how hard she works for me and other people. I've also seen her literally pull money out of her pocketbook and pay for compression and things for people. And it's not, we don't get the help we need. It's not because they don't care. It's because there's such a lack of resources and time and education. And so I thought, well, how can I give back in a way that helps the clinicians and the people living with lymphedema? Oh, well, I can tell them what to do in a course. And I don't get people to say these things. And so I created this course where patients can take it in the comfort of their own home. It's a self-paced study. There's quizzes, there's workouts, there's information, and the course starts with mindset, because we have to understand, you have to transform your mind to know how to walk this journey, because it's not a sprint, it's a journey. And so we have other people in the course teaching the course, as well as myself. I have my own very doctor talking about surgical options. I have other CLTs talking about compression, nutrition, mindset, movement. I have a breathwork specialist in there.
Oh, yeah.
I have a pelvic health specialist in there. And it's an evergreen course. So as we continue to learn things, I'm going to continue to add things in there. But it's something for patients to go home and say, okay, I've been newly diagnosed. I don't know where to start. And I didn't want people to do what I did. Go find this treatment, which was wrong, or find this information, which was wrong. You know, I had 2 failed procedures. I don't want people to go through these things. And so I vet everything out to the best of my capabilities and show the research and then show my own journey. And I give it to them all in one place. And they have like 67 pages of literature that they can also print to go over as they're watching the videos. And at the end of it, they get this certification that they are now the
I
expert of their
love
own body.
this. This is
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Therese and I do a lot of education. We're building some very cool things that we can't talk about, but education wise. But Amy, you're living our dream, man. Like you're doing it. Like
Oh, wait, I got more. There's
wait,
more.
there's more.
There's more. So I've now separated the course and is in the process of getting CE certified because so now let's say mindset mastery is for the patients, but now for clinical individuals who it doesn't not just for therapists, but physicians, nurses, athletic trainers. Let's talk about the psychology of communicating with your patient. And then let's talk about nutrition for your patient. So now I'm separating the course and I'll have a course for clinical professionals and then I'll have a course for patients.
This is awesome.
And my goal is like, how can I show the world how important the lymphatic system is? No one's going to really want to take a course on lymphedema necessarily, but they will take a course on how the body works, how the lymphatic system works, and then what happens when it's malfunctioning or missing. Then the lymphedema comes into that. So I plan. I'm working with a couple of CE
providers,
writers and consultants. I'm just the girl with the idea. I am not the expert, but I feel like this is the way we can move the needle forward, especially when there's innovative things going on and the lack of awareness and education. And then I was like, well, how can I give back again to the people that are our first responders? And that's by offering CE credits for them to educate themselves.
Amy, that is amazing. I mean, I have to say,
It's so needed.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that's, Therese and I, we are on a mission to educate as many people as we can, especially we really focus on home health. We focus on a lot of those types of boots on the ground clinicians. And I'm here to tell you that they are hungry for it. They want to know. And because they want to be able to educate the patients in their homes, they want to be able to sit down and explain why this is happening. I can't tell you how many nurses that I've worked with, we've educated, Therese and I both, where when we really explained it to them, and then they went back to the house and they sat down with the patients and then explained it and drew pictures with them. The patients then said, oh, I understand. I didn't know that.
I didn't know. Right. They're like,
and then they say, oh, well, that's why I have to wear compression. Well, that's why this has to happen. And then before you know it, now the patient starts actually trying to do these things, right? They're trying because now they understand. And then their wound heals or their leg gets smaller. And what I love the most is when the nurses come back and they say, it worked. They get
you see the fire in them again.
Yep.
Yes.
You see the light. And then they're reminded why they started this journey in the first place.
That's
why
right.
they chose to be a nurse.
Yes.
Why they chose to be a therapist. And we've lost that because we're in a world of fast pace. I don't have time to treat my patients the way I want to treat them. My patients don't understand the importance of this. And I want to slow it down and give them something that they can believe in again.
Right.
And that's be on one accord, together and work as a team. And so that's really how I combat the misinformation out there, especially with physicians and
the lymphedema. I mean, can we tell them to please stop giving loop diuretics for edema in legs?
Man.
Like, can we just start there?
Right. I'm on that soapbox all the time. And I had literally one client the other day was like, my doctor said not to listen to you because you don't know what you're talking about. Oh
my gosh. No, stop.
Gotta love that.
What's their mailing address? I'm going to send them some information.
Oh my gosh.
I said, what part am I missing here? She's like, well, I need the diuretic because it'll make my legs smaller.
Do we need to explain? Can we
apparently.
explain to them that, the loop diuretic works in the kidney and it doesn't.
And
yeah.
Lymph fluid is not the same as fluid.
Exactly.
Fluid.
It's trapped in the leg.
In the tissues. Let's talk about the tissue health.
Right. Yes.
So yeah, but I love it because when they come back and tell me, that just shows me where my work needs to go.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
When we teach this, when we go out and we teach, we're like, please let me explain to you why they don't work, why diuretics don't work. And they have this, because I'm always like, let's talk about a loop diuretic because they're going to give Lasix or something like that. Let's talk about how that works. Let's talk about how all of that works. And then the aha moments, they're like, oh. And I was like, well, where were you at for pathophysiology?
Hello, my name is Max Bierhup, and I'm the owner of Maximilian Creatives and the video producer helping bring Healing by Design to life. I've been in the wound care space for over 6 years, and I've seen firsthand the challenges clinicians and patients face every single day. It's a complex problem, and honestly, it's one that's still incredibly underrepresented and definitely undereducated. That's what pushed me into this space. I help healthcare and wound care brands bring what they do to life through video production, commercial photography, and even multimedia design that makes it clear, credible, and meaningful enough to create real change. I take complex care and turn it into something that people can understand, trust, and actually act on. Because better communication doesn't just grow a brand, it supports better care. I'm especially passionate about working with people who are trying to move healthcare forward and not just exist in it, make real change. And if that's you, I would love to connect. My name is Max Bierhup, and I'm the owner of Maximilian Creatives.
But it just, I guess it's like, okay, heart failure. But again, and if you have edema from heart failure, but that is such a different animal. It's not even in the same animal. It's not even the same species. It is literally altogether different. And so, yes, I can understand that in that situation. But when you have that sewer drainage, that inflammatory protein-rich fluid that is trapped in those interstitial spaces, I'm really sorry, man, but unless we push it back and do the things we need to do, that loop diuretic ain't going into that leg and grabbing it out of there.
No, it's just going to make it worse. And you know what I say? I have a thing of honey in my kitchen, and it's crystallized, and I keep it because I have good honey too, by the way. But it's crystallized, and what I do is I show my clients a visual. When you dehydrate yourself, this is what happens, and you can't squeeze it out. When you're hydrated, this is what happens because lymph fluid is thick. It's not like regular fluid. So when you dehydrate yourself, it's going to make your lymphedema worse. And that dehydration can come from the diuretics. It can come from anything, triggers, nutritional triggers, inflammational triggers, whatever it is. But if you keep it thin and moving, it's going to move through the tissues. You can move it. And they're like, oh, so I always keep this in my cabinet because sometimes people just need a visual.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'm like, this is what it is,
But what really gets me too is that, and I know I want to get into this in just a second. I know that you had something to do with the Lymphedema Treatment Act. I heard, I read or something. But what's interesting to me is that on the SEEP scale, so if a venous insufficiency patient has a wound, we do have a secondary lymphedema. And, we need to be cognizant of that. And so again, I want to stress that this compression and this diuretic situation is not just for primary lymphedema. This is for lymphedema across the spectrum. So we don't want to use a diuretic on a patient that has a VLU, that has a secondary lymphedema, which most of them do, because it's going to do the same thing, which is dehydrate, gum up the leg. We can't move the fluid. And so I think, again, lymphedema is so much more prevalent than we really, really understand. But going back, tell me a little bit about how you were involved in that Lymphedema Treatment Act.
Yeah. So just like anything else, I was like, how can I help? What can I do? And when I started to see that insurance wasn't covering our compression, I knew it wasn't trying to cover my surgery.
Oh my gosh.
Just anything. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a whole nother topic. Yeah. It really bothered me because I'm like, wait a minute, you covered this. I'm not going to say what this is. You covered this, you cover that, but you won't cover this, which we
Mm-hmm.
need. It's life-saving for us, And so when I saw what Heather Ferguson was doing, created the Lymphedema Treatment Act because of her son, I said, I want to get on board with this. I want to help this woman. And so I did go to DC and I did lobby, and that was really eye-opening. They really don't care about us.
No,
That's
right.
that's really what was said to me. And I was told that healthcare is a privilege, not a right.
No. Oh, no. Really? You really were said that?
Well,
that was told directly to you?
Wow.
Yeah. So I got him good, though. I got him real good. So this was before my surgery, and I was with my team, and he was just like, it's a privilege. It's not a right. I go, okay. So I get fined if I don't pay for this privilege. And then when I do pay for this privilege, you tell me I can't use the privilege. Now I bring out my EOBs because let's talk money, because that's what's really important to you, right? And he was just like, let me show you my EOBs and let me show you the disability you want to put me on for the rest of my life, rather than taking care of me, which would cost a whole lot less. And my EOBs were upper $600,000, and which could have been preventative, by the way. And so I go, so I'm showing him the money, and I'm showing like where the money's going, and then you rather put me on disability my whole life. So this is the amount of money you're going to pay for me for my entire life, compared to just paying for my compression garments and my manual lymphatic drainage and my pump or whatever else I need. Then I unwrapped my leg because he thought it was a prop.
Wow.
Oh, wow. I unwrapped it. And I said, so is this a privilege or is this a right?
Oh,
and he just
oh my gosh, good for you.
Oh, like mic drop moment right there.
Yeah. Wow. And I just let him sit with that for a second. And then he said, where's the outside?
Are you kidding me?
Oh, wow.
Oh my God. Okay, so I have to tell you, at least 4 times during this conversation, I have like the biggest goosebumps that like pop up. Oh my gosh.
It was, I had to collect myself because I really wanted to like fly off the rails. But I'm like, these are the type of people that if you don't come correct and come with authoritative voice, authoritative, like this, I know this, they're not going to listen to you. And they definitely weren't going to listen to me. And when I just was like, matter of fact, he was just quiet. He didn't know what to say. And then when I unwrapped my leg, and I had a couple people with me, they were just like, oh my gosh, she's really going to
she's going to do it.
Because you got to be respectful. And I understand. And his staffer was sitting there, and the staffer didn't know what to say. And I was just like, with all due respect, let me just show you the financial burden, not only to me, but to you. And then let me show you this. And so it was really an eye-opening experience. And that also showed me that there's just a lack of education and awareness.
Wow. Yeah. That's it right there.
Wow. That is, and I mean, single-handedly then that Lymphedema Treatment Act, I mean, it's still, people are still trying to learn about it, but thank you. I mean, thank you.
Yes,
from the bottom of my heart as a clinician and as seeing what's out there and working with home healthcare agencies across the country that are working with these patients. Thank you, Amy. That was, you couldn't have, that is so huge. That is so huge.
Well, I when I saw what Heather Ferguson was doing and why she was doing it, my heart was immediately connected to hers. And she'd been doing this years prior to this. I mean, Heather's been working on this for 14, 15 years, I think. And she's still moving the needle forward, even though the LTA passed 2023. 2024?
Was it 24? I think it was 24. Was it?
I'm like, what year are we in? I don't even know. So 2024, when it passed, there's still a lot of work, and she's constantly trying to move the needle forward. And so what I can do best to support her and her initiative is continue the research, continue the education, and then share that information, not just with patients, but I work with DME providers. I work with hospital systems, and I try to share this information because everybody's dealing with it.
Yep.
And they make it confusing on purpose, they as in the insurance companies. And I've gotten really good at reading spin downs and taking their language and saying, no, here's what you say, actually, and getting these garments or surgeries approved for people, because again, it's just something
I
I like
know.
fight.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people get caught up with the insurance on just anything in the health related field, and they stop
Right.
because they don't understand it. They can't get through it. They don't have anybody to advocate for them to understand it. And I think, like you said, I think sometimes it's done on purpose for those very reasons. But in the long run, like you said, it's more expensive, right? I mean, if they would just make this easy for these patients and help them when they need the help, you know, then they wouldn't have those chronic conditions and payments that have to be made.
Yeah.
Right. And again, it's just education and awareness.
Yep.
And, you know, so that's really the problem, you know, and it's with everything we're talking about, education and awareness.
And that's with wounds. And, you know, we talk about lymphedema, we talk about wounds, it's education and awareness. And, you know, we actually will have another podcast about education and where is it at? Because we do have a lot of stuff around us, but where is it truly at? You know, we need to start in medical school. They need to learn about lymphedema in medical school. We need to learn about it in nursing school. We need to understand the difference between primary and secondary lymphedema. We need to understand how to recognize it. I never learned that in nursing school. It was never taught.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
And I had it.
Right.
I literally had it and I had no idea what it was. You know, years later, I connected with one of my former teachers at Rockhurst University. Her son was actually one of my marketing directors for my foundation. And we just happened to like meet. And he goes, wait a minute, you went to Rockhurst? What year did you graduate? And I was telling him, he's like, did you know my mother? And I'm like, oh my gosh. So we got on the phone together. She's like, I remember you. I remember your leg. I remember.
Wow.
It was just like such a full circle moment. And she's like, what do you do now? And I told her, she was just like, this is amazing. And she, you know, she's since then been retired and stuff. But she told me the same thing. I really had no idea. I had no idea.
Yeah.
You know, and so anyone out there who's listening who is in the clinical field, don't beat yourself up for not knowing. None of us knew, you know. Doctors only get 20, 30 minutes of the lymphatic system during their
entire
educational training. Yeah. Or one slide. The problem is if you're refusing to learn and listen. That's where
wow. Yes. Yes.
It's called practicing medicine. It's not called I know all medicine.
Right.
Oh.
You know?
Yes.
And it's really important for people to know, like, it's not your fault that you didn't know.
Yeah.
When it becomes your fault is when you refuse to learn.
Oh.
Right.
Yes, absolutely. And I love that. That was so, that again, the amount of moments of just mic drop goosebumps here that you are, it's just, that's exactly it, you know? And again, with working, and you're a nurse, we're all nurses here. We understand, you know, we're okay. We're okay if you don't understand something. Let us educate you. And then let's work together as a team to make our patients better. And so that's exactly what you're doing. You're building the teams, you're building the education. Not only that, you live it. You are the person that has had this disease process your entire life. So tell us just a little bit more about your book. Like, I really want to learn about your book a little bit.
So Drop the Skirt, How My Disability Became My Superpower, was a book I did not want to write. I will start with that. I did not want to share my story like so many other people out there. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. And I thought, I'm not qualified to be a writer. Who's going to read my story? And my husband's like, you have a story and you have to share it. And so he was really the one who motivated me, inspired me, and truly believed in me to share my story. He is the one who's actually been pushing me this whole time to do the things that I have been doing. Even though I'm on the front end of things, I have an amazing husband on the back end who does all of the technical things for me as well. And really has shown me the journey that was laid out for me that I wasn't able to see.
That is amazing.
What's his name? Give a shout out to him. What's his name?
Will. Yeah. So Will has always seen me as how I see myself now. And He married me when my leg was at its
Whoa.
worst.
Wow.
So that's a whole nother conversation about
Okay.
We're going to have to put
lymphedema.
Amy part 2.
Part 2.
Right?
and so when I decided to share the story, I really wanted to share the beginning and everything I'd been through up to that point. And it's not just about lymphedema, actually. I've had quite a few men and women who have other conditions or diseases that felt the same thing I've experienced with my own journey. And that is the isolation, the undiagnosis, the not understanding the medical system. And really, when you have lymphedema, and I can only speak about lymphedema, I can't speak about any other condition, but you go through all the stages of grief.
Oh, yeah.
I bet.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to share that, and I wanted to normalize that because people think there's something wrong with them if they're angry, or something's wrong with them if they're sad, or maybe they're not allowed to be happy.
Oh, yeah.
You know? How can I be happy with this?
Yeah.
How can I love myself with this? How can I even look at myself in the mirror with this? So I share all of those things about my own journey because I want people to know that this is normal and it is okay to feel these things. It's not okay to stay in them.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
So your book kind of
It's
focuses kind of on all sorts of things, I would imagine. Your journey, the lymphedema, but also how to work through loving yourself and how to work through getting to that acceptance level and taking care of yourself. So again, yeah, I'm buying that book. It's happening. Like, I'm getting it.
and the other part of it is how to advocate for yourself.
That's a big one.
That's how I end the book because that's where I'm at now, advocating for myself. And I have found comfort and healing in advocating for other people.
Yeah, I bet.
My purpose. You know, why did I have this? Why was I born with this? Why? Now I ask, well, why not me?
Yeah.
And then I thank God for picking me for this.
Wow.
Because it really is my blessing.
Yeah.
And I could not imagine any other journey to be on, honestly.
Wow.
You know, and, you know, even when we don't understand what's going on in the midst of the storm, we must have faith, no matter what that faith looks like to somebody. You must have faith that you're meant to be here and that all storms do pass. They do pass. Now, do you need to get an umbrella? Most likely. You might need a boat.
Yeah.
You might need an anchor. But those are tools to use to get you through the storm. And that's what I share.
That is and so tell me the name of your book again then. Right.
Drop the skirt, how my disability became my superpower.
Awesome. That is awesome.
Well, a lot of people are like, what does drop the skirt even mean? I'm like,
right.
Drop the skirt. And they're like, what? No. But it's really important, you know?
Now, Amy,
that is really
I cannot thank you enough for spending time with Therese and I today. I cannot thank you enough for being willing to be raw and honest and telling us these stories. I could probably spend 4 more hours listening to your stories, but we don't have that right now. So we're going to wrap it up. And again, so there's Amy Rivera. Is it amyrivera.com? Is that the... RiveraMethod.com. Okay, so I say, everybody that's listening, go look that up.
Absolutely.
And Amy, thank you. Thank you so much for being a guest on the very first inaugural episode of Healing by Design, powered by PAWSIC. On behalf of Therese and I, we are so excited that we could talk with you. And again, thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for having me. It was quite fun, actually. Yes. I loved it.
It was fun.
I appreciate being
Wonderful.
on here.
Thank you. And that's a wrap on today's episode. Thank you so much for spending time with us. These conversations are why we do this, and we don't take it lightly that you chose to listen to us today. Before we head out, just a reminder, everything you heard today is meant to educate, not to replace the advice of your own healthcare provider. Please don't make medical decisions based on what you hear on this show. Your provider is the right person for that. Our guests share their own opinions and experiences, not the official positions of PAWSIC or anyone who supports this show. If you're dealing with a wound care emergency, please get to someone who can help you right away. And if today's episode was useful, subscribe and share it with someone in your corner of wound care. It helps us reach the people who need it the most.